Hey everybody, how you doing today? Welcome to the Bizarre and the Unknown. To all my new followers out there, thank you for joining my YouTube channel. I hope I can produce stuff that you are interested in, and I hope everybody's doing okay today. So, one of the first things I want to put out there, I have just dropped my latest book, the Virgin Guard Book One, House of Battle, which takes place during World War II, fighting the German werewolves. It is now out on Amazon, and I have sent it off to start interviewing producers for audio. So that is out. I posted a commercial that I made earlier promoting it. So I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's start out today. I want to everybody keep William Nighthawk in your prayers with what he's going through. DA in your prayers for what he's going through. Jesus Payon Jr. for what he's going through, and anybody else out there. And to all those who have birthdays this week, happy birthday. You've made it another rotation around the sun, so you can't go wrong with that. And so let's jump into it. So today we are going to talk a little bit about another another vial vortice, same as the Bermuda Triangle. If you recall on that episode, I was discussing how there's actually 12 of them, six above the equator, six below the equator. They're all in perfect line except for the North Pole one and the South Pole one. That is the only two that's offset. But they're so perfectly aligned. And the ancient stories talk about how they use the energy of the earth to portal from one area to another. So today we're going to talk about the Zimbabwe megaliths, where more specifically Great Zimbabwe. For those of you who don't know, man, there is some interesting stuff about this place because there's no actual written historical factor, and it's a megalith in southern Africa that very few people talk about. And it's all dry stone made. So, kind of an idea here. Oops, wrong one. Sorry. Give me 1 second here. These are the 12 vial vortices that they talk about. And the Great Zimbabwe one is this one down here, number 41, where the tip of it is reaching up to Great Zimbabwe. As you can see, they're all triangle shaped, just like the Bermuda Triangle. And the stories behind them are all the same as the other ones. You know, you got strange activities, magnetic strangeness, paranormal, UFO. It's all there. But the interesting thing about Great Zimbabwe is, like I said a few moments ago, there is no historical recollection of it. There is several speculations on how this place came about. It was built roughly 900 years ago, and like I said earlier, you can see in this picture here, it shows it a little bit better. It was all dry brick. There's no mortar. No mortar at all built this place here. It was said, depending on who you listen to, anywhere from 18,000 to 20,000 people lived there during that time. So it's really just who you want to talk to. Now, there's several speculations on who built this. But before we get into that, for those who don't know what the vial vortices is, Ivan T. Sanderson is the one who coined that. He's the one that traveled the world doing all this paranormal research and found these 12 hotspots that he calls these vial vortices. So that when we say that, that's what we're talking about is what he did, what he coined. Now, the interesting thing, when you look at the layout of Great Zimbabwe, You see down here in the bottom, this was the main um, monarch living area. Then you had the townspeople here in the middle, and up above was the where the chiefs lived. Now, one of the theories of who built this was Queen of Sheba herself. King Solomon and Queen of Sheba. Because of all the gold and everything that came from here, they believe that this is where his gold was mined from. His great riches that he had actually came from here. That is one theory. Now, um, the myths and legends, like I said, there's not a whole lot of them. Some of your tribes say, "Oh, I built it." Some of them say you did it. The British came in 1530. What was it 1532? I forgot to write that down. I think it was like 1532 when they discovered it, and they tried to say that first it was the white people or there was an Arabic tribe that built it. Then they said, oh, it was the Portuguese. There's been several rumors, but lately they have come to find out with ancient weapons that was found there, it was actually native South Africans who were part of it. Now, there was three main resources that came from there: gold, iron, and cattle. It is widely believed it was the center of trade in South Africa. Um, in this picture here, you kind of, it's unfortunately it's blurry. This was inside the main, um, basically courtyard, so to speak. It's where the all the rules, the religious stuff, the monarchy, and everything ruled from was in there. Now, many of your scholars believe that it was built by members of the Gokomer culture, who were the ancestors of the modern Shona in Zimbabwe. But like I said, nobody can definitively say this is who built it. There's no record at all. It's all hearsay. Um, it has been shown in the past, British archaeologists, pushing towards white builders, but it's not true. Um, the the communities of Goko Moor Ziwa cultures farmed the valley and mined and worked iron, but built no stone structures back then. Uh, they don't even claim to be the ones who did it. This was all built during the Iron Age or Iron Age period. So you got people that's actually from that area that even say we didn't build it, man. Um, so that's it's interesting that stuff. Now there's this is also known as a megalithic ruin of Zimbabwe. This is another name for it. Uh, but there has been, different kinds of energy fields, like I said earlier, UFO stuff, magnetic stuff. I mean, there's a lot of weird things. And the strangest thing out of this whole thing is the people who settled this just vanished. I mean, they're 1 second gone and next. And there is no migration records. There is no military conflict, no proof of any of that happening in this area. So the reason why the people, and this is the same thing with all the other vial vortices, the people in that area just vanished. I mean, without a trace, gone, non-existent. Um, I have seen stories where they talk about the gods lived there. The gods built it. The gods lived there. It took a lot of digging to find that. So how true it is, I don't know. I really can't say. It's a very, very, very strange place. And the fact that it's sitting on one of those triangles, um, like I was showing a little bit ago, right there, number 41, makes you wonder. I mean, makes you really wonder what actually goes on there because it fits with, like I said, all the other ones. Every single one of these vile vortices has a similar story to them. Strange energy, strange magnetic stuff, uh, supernatural stuff, and disappearances, all unexplained. And honestly, until I done my episode on Bermuda Triangle, I didn't even know about Great Zimbabwe. I just really didn't know. Uh, and change my banner up here real quick. You guys got any encounters you want me to do a small video on? Email it to the email address below. Um, the banner I had up a little bit ago. Let's hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Let's get this out there, and we can have some fun. Uh, I'm probably not going to do a long show tonight. I'm kind of tired. I'm doing my knee is doing better, but I kind of over pushed it yesterday and today. Yesterday I went on a ride on my bike. Yeah, I probably should have waited. Today I went out in the woods and was changing batteries in my game cams, changing out SIM cards. I'll so I want to say something on that real quick. While out there, it's interesting. I have not changed my SIM cards out and only caught in 2 months 3 videos of wildlife. Even on my phone, the two that go directly to my phone, very, very, very minimal wildlife. And this all started around, if you guys watched my video on the mimic, this is around about the time that my guess, I haven't even had evidence of my guest being here. I've not had the vocalizations. The structures are very minimal stuff done to what I've found. They're not even tapping on my window. They're not doing. I have nothing ever since whatever this was moved in is here. So I can't explain it to what's going on. I don't know if whatever that thing was is causing my wildlife and my guests to not appear. I don't know. But I kind of overdid it today going out in the woods doing this stuff because I was testing my knee out again and it needed to be done. I haven't changed my SIM cards out in 2 months and I had one of the game cams that hooks to my phone that needed new batteries. So, my dumb butt being here by myself climbed up my tree stand and changed out batteries. And yeah, I kind of felt it, of course, tramping through the woods and over the rocks and trees and everything else. So, it is what it is. But back onto this Great Zimbabwe. I'm kind of interested on what your all's opinions on the fact that this is all very similar. I mean, the most well-known one is the Bermuda Triangle, where just about everybody and their brother knows that. And if Ozzy Sue watches this later on, sweetie, you got two, one on each side of you. And I'll probably do a show on that later on too. But it's weird how this has no historical record at all. Not even the people of that area talk about it. Just none do. So, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that, the gods could have built this? Was this built for them by whoever was in that land? I mean, with all these theories, there's no rock hard evidence on where this place come from or what happened to the people in it. That's what I find intriguing about this. Hopefully, some people come in. We get some comments from everybody else, but this is just it's a weird thing, man. And the fact that let me pull up I'm trying to remember all 12 of these vile vortices. If I can get my stuff to pull up here, Bermuda Triangle. There we go. Let me read through here real quick. Trying to remember exactly where all 12 of these are at. And all these vile vortices has, they're all known as the Devil's Graveyard. Even some of the locals there in Zimbabwe talk about it was the devils that built it, and that was interesting too because it fits with everything else with all these others around the world that it's always got to do with the devil. There's unchecked power and things going on there, and they all match up. I mean, um, okay, here they are. The Algerian megaliths, and I'm going to mess some of these names up, so I apologize. Mohenjo Daro, the Dragon's Triangle, the Hakula volcano. I might be doing it next because I was stationed in Hawaii when I was at Kaneohe Bay, Marine Corps Base, Hawaii. Funny thing about Kaneohe Bay, if y'all remember the TV show Gilligan's Island, the opening theme to Gilligan's Island was filmed on that island in Kaneohe Bay. Kaneohe Bay is also the place where hammerhead sharks go to give birth to their pups. So I may do a show on that one here soon. Easter Island, that's another one. The South Atlantic Anomaly, of course, Great Zimbabwe. The Wharton Basin, the Loyalty Islands, and the North Pole and South Pole. So, I mean, I've got 10 other shows I could do just on vile vortices alone. If that's something you're interested in me doing, let me know in your comments. Anybody comes on here or anybody that watches this later on, let me know in the comments if you want me to do shows on each one of these. I'm probably going to do the Hawaiian one for sure, just because, well, I've got a connection to Hawaii. Um, I do, in a way, miss the people in Hawaii. Long as, yeah, they don't like haoles. We're haoles. Mainlanders are haoles. They don't like haoles, but I always had a good relationship with the locals, with the Samoans there. So, I mean, I had some fun. It just gets boring when you can do everything there is to do on an island in about a month or two. But that was the 12 vile vortices. So, I mean, this Ivan T. Anderson, I think he really hit on it. And the fact that even his research showed so much paranormal activity at all these places. Not only paranormal, but supernatural activity too. All these places have got weird stuff that goes on. So, I mean, it is, to me, it's intriguing. Intriguing. I don't know how you guys feel about it. But it really is an interesting subject here. Let me change my banners up here real quick. Definitely want to get that one with my new book release. So if you guys get a chance, go to Amazon. You can find my books on there. Some of your audio outlets will have my books. So if you guys are interested in them, you can find them on there. Let's see here. I don't really have any other good pictures. I mean, this is just kind of a. I didn't do a lot of pictures on this show just because there's really not a lot to go off of. But your general area of Great Zimbabwe is this right here. Just give you kind of a rough idea of what it looks like in that area. So, but like I said before too, the fact that the actual locals who live there have no history of this place either. It just, I mean, it just didn't vanish or appear out of nowhere. I mean, something had happened. So, are they keeping what they know a secret from us Westerners, because they don't want us to do like what I mean, and the British could have had a hand in this whenever they were doing the original archaeological study on it back in the late or the mid 1500s. Because of what they do and what they pushed, it very well could be the reason why they're not talking about it. Everything they tried to tell these British archaeologists was pushed down by the British archaeologists, saying that they was no way that them primitive types of people could have built something like this. And this is amazing structure. I mean, amazing work for dry bricks and no masonry, and you have something that would withstand 900 years. Is it a falling part now? Yes, due to the fact there was no mortar, due to the fact of the low maintenance of the uh, megalith, due to the fact that the archaeologists and the modern people trying to rebuild this has caused this great wonder in South Africa to fall apart. I mean, it's sad. It can be really, really sad. We got something here that's just a phenomenal deal, and we're losing it. I mean, and sadly, that's just nature of some humans. We do more destruction than we do good. But I mean, what do you guys think on this? I mean, have you guys know anything about Great Zimbabwe that I might be forgetting? And the fact that it could be tied to the Queen of Sheba. I mean, look at King Solomon himself. Look what powers he possessed. He had a ring that controlled demons that built his temple. Could that be what was used to build this place? I mean, for the fact that there is stories from locals saying that the devils built it. In a lot of ancient cultures, demons were called devils. So could because I mean, if you all recall, King Solomon had a love for the Queen of Sheba. Could he have built it for her? I mean, the fact that it shows there that gold was mined there and produced there and processed there, same as iron. And King Solomon had this great untold wealth. Could this be another one of King Solomon's deals? It's possible. I mean, I can't dispute that fact at all. It's very possible that that's what happened. Um, Trying to think, is there anything? Yeah, I want to put this out there because this is getting ready to come out. I want you guys to remember too, March 15th, that docu series that I'm in, Byways of Bigfoot, with Linda Eastburn, is coming out. As soon as that comes out, I'll give it some time, let everybody watch it. I will be doing a show on Bigfoots, my encounters with Bigfoots, um, after a certain time of Byways of Bigfoot coming out. So, but you can go to Linda Eastburn's YouTube channel here and subscribe to it and look for Byways of Bigfoot on March 15th. So, yeah, that's something I want you guys to keep in mind. I got to try to get a commercial done. I've shared it on my Facebooks, but I can't hit some of my social media up with that because I can't download that to send to my other social medias and try to get other people interested. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this coming out. I can't wait to see how it does. So you got your resident little hillbilly here in that going over stuff, and a lot of stuff on my property that I found is in this documentary. Um, a little teaser, I guess you can say, structures and footprints. That's just two of the little teasers that I'll put out to get you to try to watch that show. And that is what I get here from my guest. So, Oh, let me get back to comments. Sorry, but Ray, how you doing, buddy? Happy birthday again. Do you know much about the Great Zimbabwe, Ray? Get enough people on there, I may see if everybody wants me to sing all you birthday people happy birthday or not. Hear old hillbilly voice. You're welcome, buddy. Give me 1 second. I got a brother who messaged me. He's wanting me to call, but yeah, you'll have to. I don't know if you caught what I was talking about earlier on that, um, but the fact that the people who inhabited Great Zimbabwe, so much like all the other places, all the other vile vortice areas like the Bermuda Triangle and stuff, just vanished, just up, vanished and disappeared. I mean, look, Easter Island, that's another one. There's so many of them that it's the same occurrence at each one of these 12 locations. And what, I mean, and take that too, the South Pole is one. And look down there, the world's largest pyramids. The Great Pyramids of Giza is a pimple compared to the pyramids in Antarctica, down at the South Pole area. So you got megaliths at every single one of these, and just nobody knew about Great Zimbabwe. I mean, I didn't even know about Great Zimbabwe until I did the Bermuda Triangle one. So I mean, it shows a connection there and the ancient stories that hey, yeah, we use these areas to portal from one area to another. It kind of makes sense because of all the ancient structures that you find at all these areas. The high energy, the magnetic, I mean, the paranormal, supernatural, it's all tied together. All the same stuff in all these locations. The fact that they're all perfectly aligned. The only ones that are offset, North Pole, South Pole. That is the only two that's offset. But even they are all connected in the same exact way. So I mean, the possibility of that's what they've used. I mean, anybody, when you do research on portals, it tells you you need a high energy area to open a portal. That could be. I mean, it could be. Project Looking Glass, which is top secret, is something that we got from Iraq when we was over there. It's material that was not made here on Earth. There is that material contact of that looking glass is not found on Earth. And the I just brain farted that. Oh, the Anunnaki people. I wanted to say Persians, but I could be wrong on that. They were the ones that had this, and man, what my focus is still acting up. Ever since that deal with that portal I had a couple weekends ago, and the elemental activity and the supernatural activity, my webcam just does not stay focused. Uh, but in order to use that and see the thousands of different predictions of the future, you have to be in a high energy location. So, given the knowledge on that, and given the knowledge of these vile vortices, given the knowledge of location of where all these are at, including Great Zimbabwe, I mean, to me, myself personally, I believe that is a very high aspect of a probability of being what it is. And that's just my theory, my opinion. It's like I tell everybody else, that's mine. To me, I think a more logical aspect on things. You can call it a more logical outlook or a more common sense outlook, however you want to put it. When I look at things like that, that's what I try to play out. Okay, you got all these possibilities. Could it be A through Z? Yeah. which ones fit together. So you're putting this puzzle together, and this is what I'm doing with these five vortices is okay. So you got all this to happen. They're all very similar in all the same places. You got all this other stuff that's out there that's kept from us, and the same concept behind using them is the same concept as what happens in Great Zimbabwe, the Bermuda Triangle, um, Loyalty Islands, Easter Islands. I mean, it all fits. It all fits in that puzzle. So I mean, I cannot say, and like I've said a couple times already, the fact that there's no historical record of this place, even by the locals who lived in that area, it makes sense. When they talk about the devils built it, well, you got that is tied with King Solomon, like I said earlier. How I mean, to me, that's why my theory is that way on that. But it's my theory, and that's any research that you do on Great Zimbabwe. It's all a theory because there's no proof to anything out there. My logical way of thinking is, well, when 1 plus 1 equals 2, 2 is going to be your most logical answer for it. Well, my most logical answer for Great Zimbabwe is something supernatural built this, and something supernatural happened to the people who settled it, who lived there. I mean, it was around. It was inhabited for I think it was 200 years, if I remember correctly. It was 200 or 300 years, but I'm pretty sure it was 200 years. I didn't have that in my notes for some reason. But then it just like everything vanished. Like I said earlier, there was no migration path evidence ever found of them leaving Great Zimbabwe. There was no military conflict evidence found for why they left Great Zimbabwe. It was like they were here 1 second and the next second they were gone. You know, it's it's fascinating. It really is, and that is a puzzle that I would like to dive into more. Sadly, there's just not enough. Even all the other people. I've spent the last couple of days watching videos on Great Zimbabwe, and even they don't do very long videos because there's nothing to go off of. It's like everything on that place was erased. So that to me is why I wanted to do this because I'm like, okay, at least these other places you have traces of something that happened. Here, you just got a building with no explanation to it. You have stories that line up to certain things, but it's just stories. I mean, even the people in that area do not know what happened. Either they do not know, or like I said before, they're not wanting to tell nobody. Which, when you ever, and I hate to say this, but I mean, it's the truth of what happened. When the British archaeologists were there doing their deal in the 1530s, they were. I hate saying this, so you guys forgive me. I'm not trying to be mean, not trying to do nothing. This is strictly educational purposes, and it's stuff that you can look up. They were racist. They looked at the South Africans, go, you primitive people have no mind whatsoever. You cannot even come close to building this. So when you get that shoved down your throat and given the history of British in South Africa and what South Africa is nowadays, the possibility of them not wanting to tell anybody is very probable of why we don't know. Could we know at one time? Possibly. But I think it's really going to take one of them to open up and go, hey, look, I know this is what we've said for, a few hundred years now. This is actually what happened. So if that possibility is there, until that happens, we may never know what happened to this magnificent place. And the bizarreness to it, the strangeness to it, these everything about it, we're just never going to know. Um, and it's God, I'd like to know. I would love to be able to get in good with the local down. Oh, we got a full moon tonight. Cool. Uh, I would like to get with one of them down there, see if I could befriend them, and see if we can actually get a truth. I served with some Ugandans and stuff like that while I was in the military, um, but I don't know how helpful they would be. I don't even have contact with a lot of them anymore because I wish I did because I'd be able to reach out to them and say, hey, can you get me hooked up with the uh, indigenous people of that land, and try to explain to them that I am a man of truth, and I really want to know what happened. I would love to, but back when I knew them, I still had Yahoo Mail. And that's how we communicated a long time was through, or for a long time was through Yahoo Mail. I don't even have that no more. In a way, I kind of miss Yahoo. Yahoo, anybody remember that? But I would like to. I need to. I wonder if that one professor from SMSU is still there. I talked with him a lot when I was with the agriculture program. Um, for any Ugandans who watch this, Jumbo, God, I love them people. They are very friendly, very nice people. If some of them happen to watch this by chance and look me up and find me, hit me up, man. I miss talking to you guys. Um, but Jumbo, God, you talk about a loving, friendly culture, man. Them guys, they're just full of life and love. If you ever get a chance to interact with one of them, I highly recommend it. They are so loving and so high energy and so positive of people. When you're around them, you feel the positivity come off of you or come off of them and absorb into you. I can't even explain it. It is just bizarre when you see a culture from another world or part of the world and how the difference they are there compared to here. So, but get off my little soapbox there on them guys. But the other thing, which is very few that I've been able to find story wise, is it kind of ties with the one story that the Devils built. It is there is somewhat of a negative feel to that area, um, but I think I remember I was like one or two stories I've ever seen on that. So I can't put a whole lot of stock in that, but I can't put a whole lot of stock in anything else on this either because there's just not enough of it out there. All the main thing that you got is just what these British archaeologists talk about versus what they discovered in 1960. I believe it was 1970. I believe the new research when they found weapons of the local people inside of the Great Zimbabwe that took the British archaeological records and said, yeah, you were completely and 100% wrong. Here's the evidence right here. And you guys discarded it because of your low IQ. I guess would be a polite way of putting it on on this channel here, um, instead of what it actually was. Your low IQ, your low mentality. So when that started coming out, that's when all that stuff of what the British originally said started going to the wayside. Um, there's more evidence supporting um, actually being South Africans who built it or at least lived there. And this could be another incident like several ancient people have done in their time was you had this magnificent place that was built and there's nobody living there. Hey, I'm gonna put my stake in this. Is gonna be our new home. that could be why you're finding that stuff there. I mean, this originally could have been built by the gods or built by the ancient aliens. You know, they're on Ancient Aliens. That TV, I love that TV show, by the way. Giorgio's got some whack out hair, but I like that show. Um, they're very, even though to me there's not enough evidence of it. To me, the evidence really supports that humans had a lot to do. Let me get back to that one picture. I mean, to me, this picture here alone just shows that there's enough proof that I really don't think aliens had a hand in building this. This looks too human for me. Now, will I say that maybe a possibility that the aliens gave them the designs to build it and a way of doing it? Yes. I don't think the aliens built it though. Judging by that and everything else I've seen in our ancient history, when it comes to buildings and stuff like that, there's too much man influence in the construction of this place. There just really is, you know. But you get to the Arab side of it, and even the Portuguese side of it. I mean, we'll go Portuguese side of it. Let me get this one back up here. How that's built round and how you can see all the fortifications all throughout this picture here. I mean, there is a theory out there that the Knights Templar, when they were hunted, um, they went to Portugal and became warriors of Christ, if I remember correctly. I'm brain farting on that one there. But the thing that kind of throws this out is the dates are wrong. The dates for this does not match with them. And that's why when they talk about the Portuguese building it and stuff like that, I have to toss that to the side. I can't see it. The dates just don't match. Now, I mean, the possibility, I mean, and another theory is the lost tribe of Israel. That is another very leading theory that the lost tribe of Israel came down through the Arabic cultures and pipelines to settle there, and they're the ones that built this. Could that be why it's similar to a lot of medieval structures? Possibly. I know here in the United States, if you take what they call the five civilized tribes, native tribes. Hey, Scott, how you doing, buddy? If you take the five civilized native tribes here in the United States, and they've done this, I've seen this myself. They've done a DNA hoo-ha with them. A lot of their blood was Jewish blood. So that is like one of the theories here in the United States that what we know as the five civilized native tribes were part of the lost tribe of Israel. So the fact that this Great Zimbabwe could have that feeling to it is very probable. I can't dispute that. I mean, like I said, the structures alone, you can see the human influence in the destruction of the buildings alone. So either way you look at it, regardless if it was built by the gods or for the gods, which I'd say mainly probably built for the gods, human had a hand in it. Now, one of the theories said that the locals there were the ones who constructed it. One of them says it was made for the Queen of Sheba. The other one says it was made for the gods. So that is the other variable to who could have built this. So, I mean, and it goes back to what I was saying a little bit ago. Judging by the structure of it and how it was built, it's obvious that humans had a hand in the building it. Question is, who were they? Why did they do it? What happened to them? I mean, it's bizarre, man. It is really bizarre what happened to this place. The whole thing about this, and the fact that there's very little known. You have a mega structure, the only mega structure in South Africa that mysteriously appeared, and the inhabitants mysteriously disappeared. And there's just not a lot to go off of. So I was hoping I'd find more for the show. I mean, I've been researching this thing for probably a total of 3 or 4 days altogether, and it's the same stuff over and over and over and over. So unfortunately, there's not really a lot to go on here like I was hoping there would be. But it's just fascinating. God, it's just a fascinating place. Uh, Let me get to my banners here for a second. Give me one momento. One momento. Go back to this here. Try to keep that switched up. I wish there's a way I can automatically do it so I ain't got to switch, but I haven't got that part figured out yet. Um, I mean, it is what it is. Uh, but I mean, what do you guys in chat think? What do you guys think about this Great Zimbabwe? I'm intrigued to what your guys' opinions on this is. Let's go ahead and get rid of banners for a little bit. We got enough of them on there. I'll be putting more up there in a little bit. But Juno, how you doing, buddy? Um, have you guys got any theories on anything I discussed on that? It is, Scott. You, buddy, you're absolutely right because there's nothing to support anything on it. There literally is nothing to support any freaking theory at all. The closest theory you can have is, like I said, that obviously humans had a part in it just because of how it looks, man. It's That's why I love it, man. Oh God, I'm going. This is not something I'm going to shy away from. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on this. Um, it's, but like I said, a couple times already in here, it is just so interesting. Yeah, I mean, and you're right, and that's like I said earlier. This is one of the 12 vial vortices, Scott, and the ancients talk about how these man. Still coughing. Sorry, I still got stuff coming up. Um, that they use these vial vortice points, these triangles of high energy, to teleport from one location to another. So the fact that there's dimensions, like I've said on some of these other shows with some of this other weird stuff, and like what William and I talk about from time to time on his shows. Could this be a interdimensional thing that came here and done this? That is possible. There is so much uncertainty to this place that is not something that you can take off the table. That is something we really got to consider. I mean, we cannot discard aliens. We can't discard supernatural. We can't discard interdimensional. We can't discard um, King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba theory. Yeah, yeah, that's like I agree, Scott. I really do, buddy. Because we really cannot disregard any of those theories, and that's basically because there's no proof to say one way or the other. There's not enough leaning more towards one or more towards the other. There really isn't. I have dug and dug. I've been on so many freaking different sites trying to figure out more on this, But no matter where I go, no matter where I look, it's the exact same thing. There is just not enough known. So, I mean, um, well, and that's one. I'm glad you brought that up, Scott. I actually that was something I was wanting to talk about. I forgot, so I appreciate you for bringing that up. A lot of what our megaliths we know of, there's so many of them that are pre-flood. Um, are we seeing something that was pre-flood, but because of the powers to be, the scholars, the people who know everything, do not want that information out? Is that why we have no history of this place? Is this why the locals have no history of this place? Because this was actually built pre-flood. Look at all these ancient structures that we have out there. Where, like William shared, I was watching a video just before I came on, where William was showing all these doorways, these giant doorways, and there was somebody. I can't remember if I seen the video or somebody shared it. I can't remember, but they were building on top of structures pre-flood, and the local government was purposely hiding these pre-flooded buildings and building on top of them. So, and you can actually see all the mud, everything packed into these old structures with new structures built on top, purposely hiding them from the people. Could Great Zimbabwe be one of those pre-flood structures? I can absolutely see that being a possibility. I really could. Um, yeah, Scott. That's right. That's right. That's right. Peru and Chile. Yeah, that's where it was. But in Russia too. I was watching a video earlier, and I meant to share it, and I forgot to. I got sidetracked on something else. Yeah, honestly, sidetracked, stubborn me. Oh, I'm not in much pain as I used to be. I'm going to go out tramping through the woods because, yeah, I'm me. I forgot to share it. Uh, but even there's megaliths that is pre-flood dated in Russia that is being kept secret from the people. So, and this is stuff that's all over the world. Uh, there are so many ancient pre-flood structures all over the world that's being kept hidden from us. I'm a firm subscriber in the pyramids in Antarctica, which is believed to be built by the Anunnakis. Or no, sorry, Inca. Yeah, Anunnakis. I think it was Inca who traveled the world building these pyramids. Could that be what we're seeing here? Is one of those? I mean, he was recorded for traveling the world and teaching the people how to build these megaliths and these pyramids and these all these great structures. Could that be what we're looking at here? Possibly. Yeah, I can see that being a very big variable. And like I said before, the fact that there's no historical records of this place, no verbal, written, drawn, nothing, that I can see that being the case, pre-flood. That makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, it's fun, man. It's aggravating but fun at the same time. Um, I wonder. I hate going back to this picture, but now that we get on the subject of pre-flood, then again with all the archaeological activity, I don't know if we're going to see it. I wonder if you can see anything like that stuck in the bricks there. And this I guess you can on this picture. This picture really don't show it too good. There's not really no fine line defining any of it. I mean, from the encounters I hear, this place wasn't known about for so long that locals are like, "What are you talking about? The pyramids being. We got something like that right down the road here." And the British archaeologists like, "There's no way, huh? Yeah." And they took them right to them. See, look right here. All of a sudden, bam! Now we know about Great Zimbabwe. You know, could they have done it? Is certain that 2 to 3,000 years ago, copper was mined in the Great Lakes and taken to the middle. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I remember hearing about that, Scott. What show was that? I've seen that on. Was that Josh Gates? I may have seen something like that on Josh Gates. I love watching that show too. Expedition Unknown. Was it or Ancient Aliens? It could have been Ancient Aliens who was talking. One of them too was talking about. I kind of remember that. Yeah, I mean, and they've even got stuff from the Middle East that they found here that's been underground for hundreds of years. So you're seeing a trend here. You're seeing something that this people here are not supposed to know about this people here. But when you do your studies, you're finding stuff from this people here, here, and here, here, and it's not supposed to exist. Oh, did they? Ozzy, what's happening, sweetie? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Um, I didn't know they did that, Scott. Oh, yes, I do. Yeah, but I can't remember the result. Yeah, okay, yeah. Um, man, I was wondering what happened to you, sweetheart. Are you doing better? I've been kind of worried about you not hearing from you. But I'm glad you're home. I really glad you're home. I'm going to be doing some shows on some vital vortices, vortices. That's you got one on each side of you there in Australia. So I'm going to probably be doing a show on them before too long for you, just for you, Ozzy. See. Yeah, and that's another thing too, Scott. Is there in the Grand Canyon? There's a section there that the military. Now this is no tail numbers. This is like a black ops group. Nothing signifying who they are. That keeps you away from a certain part of the Grand Canyon. And one of the biggest beliefs about it is a lost pharaoh of Egypt um, is buried there. There's evidence to show that a not a lost pharaoh, um, a pharaoh that fled Egypt came to the Americas and is buried in the Grand Canyon. And that's why these black op peoples keep you out there. Josh Gates actually did do a show on that. Somebody else did too. Having trouble with high blood pressure. Need more checkup. Sweetheart, keep me updated. I want to make sure you're doing okay. That's something. That's something you don't want to mess with. But I'm so glad you're on here. So it does. It fills my heart with joy to see you on here, sweetie. You just take it easy. I mean, but thank you for coming and let me know how things go. Um, yeah, they did, Scott. They hid, they've hid them from us, just like they've done everything else. I mean, this is this is a common occurrence, and this is just not United States. This is worldwide. This is governments worldwide to hide stuff like this from us all the time. So, yeah, I mean, look at all the giant stuff. Look at all the dinosaurs that supposedly were wiped out by the asteroid. I mean, look at all the other stuff. Look at the dragons. I mean, everything. Yeah, yeah, Scott. Dang, Ozzy. Yeah, they do. They lie to us all the time. So that's why, even with Great Zimbabwe here, I really cannot. I can't leave any variable. I can't take it off the table. I really can't take any variable off the table on this. because we know, I mean, in a lot of us, and a lot more people are waking up to this every day. The fact that we are lied to constantly, things are hidden from us constantly. Yeah, yeah, Scott. Um, so I mean, it's the realm of possibilities about in the strangeness of this place alone is just it's phenomenal. It really is phenomenal. Uh, it's just it's entertaining. I mean, for me, it's extremely interesting because there's so many variables out there, and there's no linear path to go in one way or the other. I mean, so and like you said earlier, with the Great Flood, that is extremely possible because of all the facts that you find when you're trying to do research on this. If you ever guys ever get a chance and try to research this up, you'll see what I mean. It'll pull your hair. I think I got a couple more gray hairs just trying to figure this thing out. It's been a roller coaster. I'm like, holy cow! I messaged William earlier. I was like, man, there was stuff I found on here a couple days ago that I can't find anymore. It's like everything just like disappeared. And yeah, that's the point I was getting at earlier, Scott. And of course, mine was focused more on these valve vortices areas because it's the same across all of them. Oh, that's good, Ozzy. But I'm not posting a lot of your stuff on the up on the screen here because of people who watch it later. I don't know if who all you want to know about your business, so that's why I'm not putting a lot of your stuff out there, Ozzy. I'm just commenting on it, just out of respect for you. Uh, but that's why my comment earlier about the valve vortices and the fact that every single one of them has this mysterious disappearances, the mysteriousity of how they're there, how they there's like no archaeological or verbal or any kind of history of how these things came to be. And I mean, it's not just in the valve vortices. This is across the world, true, but it's intriguing that there are 12 of these things, and every single one of them has the same story, the same effects, the same everything. They're exactly the same. I mean, look at the tectonic activity that happens there in Great Zimbabwe. That tells you something. And in the ancestors, if you actually read the ancient text on a lot of stuff, they built things on tectonic plate areas. They built things on magnetic areas and high energy areas because they harnessed that from Mother Earth. They harnessed that power. There is recent discoveries showing that ancients had electricity. They even say the Great Pyramids uh, was a pump system to create electricity. Now, we grew up being told all the time, um, yeah, yeah. I mean, we grew up. I mean, I remember. I'm fixing to be 45, y'all. I'm 44, but fixing to be 45. Even I can remember my times in school in both, public and college. They told us the same thing that they had no means of electricity. They had no means of this. Then how did they cut bricks with precision? The only way to cut these bricks, these blocks, these granites, all this stuff is diamond plated saws. And then they're finally discovering, oh crap, they had electricity. Oh wow, they had a way to cut blocks with this machine using water and electricity. Right. And the thing too on that, Ozzy, is and this is your Catholic Church at their finest. They built a lot of their stuff on remains or repurposed or on spiritual locations of what they called pagans. I hate that term, but that's what they called it. And that's why a lot of the pagan religions and the cultures and stuff is integrated into our modern Christianity. The poles on top of a lot of these old buildings were conductors to catch electricity. There's videos out there showing you during a high electricity thing, these things light up. Yes. Yes, Ozzy, you're absolutely right. So, I mean, we're finding this stuff out every day that, when we were younger, we were told, oh, this is not possible. They didn't have the mindset. They weren't smart enough to do this. They're eating crow now because the evidence is being shot right in their face going, yeah, look, you were wrong, Dodo. Look right here. They've reassembled some of this stuff. And this part I remember was, well, no, I'm pretty sure this was Ancient Aliens too. On the saw deal, the diamond plated saw deal, it cut faster and it cut better than our modern equipment that we have now. Our multi-ton machinery can't do the precision, accuracy, or time frame, and these things are being built. You know, some of the newest stuff I'm finding here lately is that some of these giants that we're finding were genetically made, and they were builders, they were protectors, they were architect. A lot of your ancient architecture was built by these giants, hence why the large doorways, hence why you have unique structures in a lot of these buildings. Are what these giants were built for. They were strong, they were smart, they were builders, and they were protectors. Are we looking at something similar here in Great Zimbabwe? I'd say probably not, but I can't say that it isn't either. I mean, it's a possibility. Fallen Angel Cinema, Nephilim, and the technological knowledge given to them by the fall. Yeah, and seeing that falls along. That's why I find the fallen angels and the Anunnaki so interesting, because if you study if you study the Christian side, which is the fallen angels, you study, pre-Christianity and the Nephilim or the Anunnaki, everything is very similar on that. Was it Indu and Inky? I mean, God and the devil. Inky, something happened to Inky. He went weird and he became evil. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree, Scott. My thoughts are those stones were cut and moved by frequency as well, and there is a lot of evidence supporting that. A lot of evidence supporting that, Ozzy. And let me get this. This is one picture that Jesus has sent to me, and I love it. It's from Egypt. Let me get his file and upload this real quick. I'm sorry, I keep saying Jesus. I served with the Jesus military, so every time I think of Jesus, I think of Jesus. I hope he doesn't get mad at me for if he's listening. I'm sorry, Jesus. Um, let me pull up this picture. I'll pull up these two actually. So this is from Egypt and the Great Pyramids. So, and there's a lot of studies supporting, like you was saying, Ozzy, with frequency. There's no doubt. I've seen enough proof of that to suggest that's a possibility. And you also find stuff like this from Egypt showing these giants carrying these blocks. So, could it be they carried it from the quarry to the location and they used frequency to put them in place? Absolutely, that is possible. And you're looking at these are the giants back in this time. I mean, look how tall these giants are to a giraffe. Folks, we barely come up to their knees. So in as far as the Great Pyramids go, I believe that is a big part of that. Um, yeah, yeah. And they have shown also on your comment too, Ozzy. They have shown they've done studies, scientific studies on they can actually cut a precision cut with frequency too. You're absolutely right. I've seen videos of that, how they use frequency to, man, it's like a laser. I mean, just like hot knife through butter and cut stone with frequency. Frequencies can do a lot of things. Our bodies are made of frequencies and vibrations. Frequencies can either destroy or heal. The proper frequencies, the proper vibrations can cause healing. They can also cause damage too. You have to think about that. Um, I mean, look at lasers. Lasers are based off of frequency type deal just as well as light. The correct frequency, you destroy. And that is another leading theory there too, Scott, of being melted and formed. Now your mainstream, you're not your mainstream, your modern and some of your older um, scientists will tell you that there's no way to melt and form stone. That is based off of our knowledge. That is not based off of knowledge of something supernatural or otherworldly. There is a very good possibility that something supernatural or otherworldly has the ability to do that. And I know that's George Suklos's main theory and his ancient alien stuff is that they melted this stuff and formed them. Same with Eric. I forgot his last name. Eric von. Um, man, I completely spaced his last name off. But he's from Ancient Aliens too. He's wrote a lot of good books. He's a Christian, but he also believes in aliens as well. That is one. That is a lot of their leading theories on a lot of these ancient structures that happened is they melted this stuff and formed it. That is possibility. So I mean, there's proof of ancient saws, diamond plated ancient saws. There's proofs of frequencies that's doing this stuff, and there's proof of smelting and forming them out there, all in ancient history. So I mean, the possibility of all them techniques being used when you got ancient stuff showing that that's what happened, you can't say that didn't happen. I mean, there's enough out there. Yeah, and, that's like I was talking on my stone giants, Ozzy. When the gods were displeased with the giants, they caused a great flood, which killed them. When they settled in the mud, and the mud settled around them, you have what you call mud fossils, and that's why you're finding a lot of these stone giants out there. Um, so, I mean, your comment there is very possible, very very possible. I mean, and that's in every single region around the world. They have the exact same story. If it ain't exact, it's dang near exact. That kind of tells you something there. It's like I've always said, and it's like many other people always said. Behind every myth, behind every legend, behind every folklore is a kernel of truth. So, I mean, I can see your point 100% on that, Ozzy. I really can. I mean, take take the Nordic, trolls. They get into the sunlight, and the sunlight turns them to stone, and you're finding all these stone trolls all over. Not just in Norway, not just in the Dane lands, not just in Germanic lands. You're finding this stuff all over the world. You're finding human type stuff, animal type stuff, all these different kinds of creatures that's turned to stone. Could that be a possibility? Yes. Is the flood the cause for it, from turning them into mud fossils? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ancient text talks about how the gods slayed dragons because the dragons were hunting them and killing them because of the unruliness of the gods. There was a great war between the gods and dragons. Great war between gods and giants, great wars between gods and titans. That stuff is all over the world. Are they one and the same, or are they similar? Oh yeah, I mean, all of it's possibility. Imagine what the real technology that's really out there could never imagine just how powerful it was or what they could do. Absolutely. And another aspect, think how the world might have been back then, how different it was then compared to it is now. You know, there's several deleting theories out there that there's like three or four great resets. I think it's three. I think it's three great resets. And the earth has been destroyed like three different times, three different ways. Imagine all that technology we're just now digging up that we were told for so long did not exist and we're finding it now. Could that be remnants of one of those great destructions? Absolutely. You know, I watched Guardian of the Galaxy 3 the other day, and I was kind of laughing because the villain in that movie created a planet, created life forms, has destroyed it many times because it wasn't to his perfection. Yeah, 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 Ozzy, absolutely. But I was kind of laughing because I was like, is that what we're dealing with here? We don't do something right. The creator gets pissed, destroys it, and starts over. It's comical how that stuff plays all. You know, I've always told the people, if you want to know what the next big thing to come out that's going to be revealed to us, watch Hollywood. Um, we really, and that's why I love that comment, Ozzy. We we are the Neanderthal. They were the smart humans. It's we think we're high and mighty because we got these things here and these things here, and I have these still out because I was playing with them trying to figure out how to use them. These things here, that's child's play to some of the stuff that they had, and we're just finding out about. I mean, look at the great city of Atlantis. The great city of Atlantis had so many. Um, what is the word I'm looking for? So many marvels on machinery and stuff like that. We are but a pimple on their butt when it comes to what that knowledge they had. So yeah, we are exactly, we're cavemen compared to some of them. That is, yeah, 100%. Um, which is funny because that is one of the theories of the Bermuda Triangle. Is that's where the lost city of Atlantis was in the Bermuda Triangle. Don't know, but it's compelling. It's definitely a top contender on the theory. And who's to say? One of the theories is Atlantis was shot into space. That's why we can't find it because it wasn't actually a city; it was a space station that was here on Earth, and they were trying to push humanity in a forward and technological way. They do, Scott. I'm 100%, and that's why I love doing these shows. I love doing these shows because that is exactly what they do. And I, for one, this is just my stubbornness. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like to be dummified. I don't like to be. I'm a free soul, man. I was made with free will. I like to know the truth. Oh, you are spoiled. Come here, buddy. Come on. You're turning into an internet whore. You know that? You just got to be on every single show I get on. Uh, that's my face. Yeah, so I know I love you too, buddy. Look at all the so-called conspiracies that have turned out to be true. Exactly. That's why I love that. Yes, buddy, I love you. Please, I'm talking. You're being rude. I love you too, buddy. Um, yes. Yeah. Actually, I've not heard a whole lot about that, Ozzy, but I have heard a little bit about that. That's actually not a bad idea for a show, too. Let me write that down. If I remember correctly, two of the theories on them crystal cities is one is Atlantis, the other one is the Galactic Federation that's out there that are tied to that. I could be, I can't remember off the top of my head. I heard about that some time back. Yeah, right, Scott. I mean, you look at a lot of ancient stories. They talk about these ant people and these reptilians and how evil they are, and these mantis people, and they live underground. They were pushed. One says they were pushed underground by us. Others said that the gods pushed them underground, and that's where the theory of hell is underneath us, is because a lot of the evil was pushed underground. I mean, look at all the tunnels and cave systems throughout the world. Our world is like a honeycomb compared to them. Um, and yeah, some modern stories as well, Scott. Yeah, but I mean that's a lot of that stuff. I remember when the internet started, you could find just about anything you wanted, but they've removed almost. And yeah, and I've said that several times, Ozzy. I've said that many times, sweetie, because it's so true. I mean, how many times have I said on here, or I've told on William's show, and even talking with just DA and William privately, or even Jesus Payon. It's like I remember when I could find this stuff, left and right, and now I can't hardly find anything at all. But yeah, Scott, I mean, some of your modern stories are that way too, because I mean, look at all this stuff that's popping up now. And a lot of stuff that's popping up now is because of modern sightings of stuff we've seen. And that's why these old stories are coming back to life. Look how many times a UFO is seen going underground. Look how many times they've got pictures of reptilians underground. Look how many times they've got pictures of giants being underground. Um, that is why a lot of this stuff is finally starting to come to the surface. Um, yeah, 100%. 100%, Ozzy. I mean, they're constantly doing it. But the thing too is, as much as this internet is a curse and a burden, because so many people have these stupid little things right here, more and more stuff is coming out. Right. And another perfect example of that, Scott, is Tartarians. Look, we're just now finding out about how advanced the Tartarians actually were, and why they were able to uh, take over so much area. Try to find out anything on old tech, how they did things 150, 200 years ago, very difficult to find. You're absolutely correct. One of the news stories about the Great Wall of China is it wasn't actually to keep the Huns out; it was to keep something in. If you actually look at the structure of the Great Wall of China, it wasn't built to keep the Huns out. It was actually built to keep something in. I can't remember what the theory of the thing in was, but that is a new thing that's come out when they've actually studied the structure of the Great Wall. So, I mean, you're absolutely right on a lot of that stuff. There is so much stuff that we have no freaking clue, man. Oh, good. It's still kind of warm from this morning. I ran out of tea, so now I'm on my lukewarm coffee. Uh, but yeah, and we're finding more and more. What I'm really liking now is the fact that more and more of your true archaeologists and your true scientists and your true historians are coming out to dispute the old beliefs. There's a lot more of that coming out. And that is cryptid, paranormal, supernatural, mythological, folklore, and a bizarre unknown. More and more of that is coming out from true people, true believers in their field of study, and not sticking to the mainstream idea of this is what we're going to tell people. People are tired of hiding the truth from everybody. Even Australia had those world fairs as they were all over the world. I believe all the buildings was all ancient civil. Yes, and that is a very big. That is one of the theories that's come out in the last couple of years on that because there was and and I'm just as guilty of this as anybody else. Growing up, I thought there was only one World Fair, and that was here in what was it, New York, I think it was, or wherever it was. I can't remember off the top of my head. But no, they were all over the world, and they were introducing all kinds of technologies and all kinds of stuff. But if you actually look where every single one of them was laid out, there was a specific reason they were put in them spots. That's I need to start doing that too, Scott. I'm trying to collect all the old tech information I can. I am too because there's more and more of it every single day that's disappearing off this freaking interweb, and that all stems because they're trying to keep us dumb. The way you subjugate somebody is by keeping them ignorant to the truths of their who they actually are. Like William Ives discussed, like Jesus Payon and I have discussed. There is so much evidence that shows that we were a totally different height, totally different build, totally different everything at one point in time, and we've gotten smaller, and now we're starting to go back. I mean, look at your average height from a couple thousand years ago to your average height when you're in my era, in our era, and then look at the average height now. It's all changed. Exactly, and that's why I do the show, Scott. Uh, is in order to be a true woke person, you need to actually know the truth. And I tell this to my kids, I tell this to anybody. Truth is always going to be the truth. A lie in fiction is always going to be a lie in fiction. Just because you want something to be believed so bad because you want to be right doesn't make it truth, doesn't make it fact, does not make it how it is. Regardless of what the truth is, good or bad, the truth is the truth, the fact is the fact. History is actually history. You can't change it. Even though certain entities, certain powers to be, is trying to make it the other way, that's why we got to do this stuff. That's why people like me and William and DA and Jesus and, um, you know, everybody else out there does shows like this is why we do it. We got to get the truth out there. That's why I wanted to do it on Great Zimbabwe because we need to know the truth. Well, yeah, and that's a very good. Oops, I hit the wrong one. Give me 1 second. That's a very good point. Look how many my kids are going to be, and I've tried like hell to keep this from happening. If this generation, and sadly, even some of our generation is getting this way now. If they lose their TV, they lose their computer, they lose their phone. Look at what happened when AT&T went down for a little bit. It is absolutely sad how dependent we have. We've many ancient buildings around Australia. They're saying they're built after we've supposedly built after less than 100 years, and other information we had nothing to build on them. Oh yeah, I mean, and look at Australia, Ozzy. Before white man got there, your Aborigines and the stories that they have there. Now, the Europeans used Australia as a prison. They would take convicts and drop them off in Australia. If you wanted to live, you had to learn how to survive and fight. Uh, but you want to know your true history about Australia, man, get with them Aborigines. Oh God, I miss being in Australia because I love talking to the Aborigines and the stories they had of their ancestry, their history and stuff. It is phenomenal, and how much that lines up with the rest of the world. Oh my God, I saw a video of a woman complaining that she had to work 40 hours a week to pay for rent and her car and groceries, etc. All I could do was laugh. Oh God, yeah, yes, God. We are turning into an extremely lazy society. Now that is also a double-edged sword because if our financial stuff was set the way it's supposed to be and not on the fiat system that it is now, honestly, we can work 20, 30 hours a week and make more than enough money to sustain us if we paid what our true value of what a product is we want. Not what the corporation sets that product at, the actual true cost of that project. You could actually survive very wealthily on 20, 30 hours a week of work. But you have to get off the fiat system, which the fiat system is what we're on right now. And which is why I like BRICS, because BRICS is getting us away from that fiat system, getting back to product and mineral or stone and mineral based backing like we're supposed to be. I like BRICS. I'm a big fan of BRICS. But yeah, I mean but it like I can't say a whole lot because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't know who else is watching this, but we'll put it this way: I have seen such a change in just the last 20 years of working compared to when I was younger at the laziness that people are getting to. Take away the government handouts that people would have to work. I'm not talking about disabled people. I'm talking about you're exactly right, and that's something I've been preaching for a very long time. I don't. You guys would probably remember this. When I grew up poor, we used to have to go to the nuns, and we had what few little handouts you got on food stamps. We'd go to the nuns to supplement the other things. We grew. I mean, I was homeless for a little while when I was young, and back then you weren't allowed to be on drugs. You could not buy alcohol. You could not buy tobacco. You could not buy cooked foods. You had very little things that you could buy, and you were pushed to find a job. I agree. There are situations where you need food stamps. I'm also a firm believer that you should not live off of that. You should not live off the government handouts. That is not meant to be a lifestyle. That is meant to help you until you can get back on your feet. And we seriously need to get back to that and not give all these thousands and thousands of dollars to these freaking illegals crossing the border. I grew up middle class, but started delivering papers at 11 and started working full time at 16. I've always worked. Yeah, me too, Scott. I was doing farmhand work. I was 8 years old with a push mower. And when I was younger, I didn't have a gas powered one to start out with. We had a hand me down, the old school. You guys will probably remember these mowers. An actual literal push mower. It had the wheels with the spinning blades, and you pushed it. And as long as you pushed it, it cut grass. I've used that to cut grass. And then we thought we were high tech because we had somebody give us a gas powered push mower. I thought we were living high on the hog. Yeah, I mean, I've done that too. I worked on irrigation system. I bucked hay, baled hay, hauled hay, fed cattle, mucked hog pens, calving pens, chicken barns, turkey barns. I mean, I got my first tax-paying job when I was 15 and a half years old. I've been working full-time most of my life, paying taxes working full-time since I was 15 and a half. So you're absolutely. Back then, when I was bucking hay, I thought I was rich when I went from 10 cents a bale to 25 cents a bale. And by God, you learned how to stack. You learned how to buck bales of hay quick, efficient, and accurately. Because the more you bucked, the more you got paid. Absolutely, Scott. So, um, oh yeah, I mean, and I look back now, I thought that was a sucky ass living back then. But honestly, I miss them times. I got my worker's permit when I was 14 and worked part time from 14 to 16. Working was a reward, not a penalty. Exactly. I wanted to work. I wanted to buy my own stuff. I wanted to. That's why I did what I did. You know, if I wanted to buy my own tobacco, my own soda, my own food, my own clothes, my own music, my own car, my own everything, I worked my ass off for it. Government handouts are a way of destroying our society and having no one to make, build, anything else. Yeah, it is. It's subjugation. It's all about subjugation. I mean, look how much of drugs the CIA started bringing in during Vietnam in the bodies of our fallen soldiers, or remove the bodies from the bags and put drugs in it. They brought that into this country to subjugate us. That's all your CIA and your federal government. The biggest drug dealers in the world is your federal government and your CIA. They are. They're the biggest drug dealers in the world. When we were, in the Corps, when we were fighting drug cartel, I thought we was fighting an actual war against drug cartel. We were taking out the government's competition. They didn't want to pay the government their 20%. They got taken out. They sent us in to take them out. Absolutely. You're absolutely. I left school at 15 years to help my grandparents who were raising me up since birth, and my three sons are good workers. Thank goodness. Absolutely. And that's the thing. There's a lot of thing that this generation has forgotten is we've gotten away from, and this has been impregnated in our mind, just like our lost history, that we the family, the nuclear family life has literally been pushed out of our mind, where we've got away from family values, family truths, family loves, and family togetherness. That's been pushed from us. That's been ripped from us. Mainstream media, social media, government, so many entities, even our public schools push that away. We need to get back to that mindset. It is great to hear, Sue. Your kids learn from our example. Exactly. Some of them do, Scott. Some of them don't, buddy. I hate to say it. I know that from firsthand experience, and I'm not going to get into that on the show, but some do, some don't. Um, it's the fact that all these entities push this laziness on generations after us, and it just gets worse every year. That's why they can push this narrative of this ancient history of ours that we don't know about, because if you don't know where you come from, then you don't know who you are. That's why I've always taught my kids, and I've always taught my friends and everybody else, know your history, good and bad, and learn from it. Take the good, apply that good of your history, apply it to your life. Take the bad, learn from it, and try not to make that same mistake. And I grew up. Oops, I hit the wrong one. And yeah, that's what I was getting at, Scott. That's what I was getting at, because it's purposely done. There is so much evidence out there that shows that. If you guys want a very good listen to, and it's hard to find every single one of them, you really have to dig around. But get on Rumble and look at The Fall of the Cabal by is it Susan Lockhart, I think. can't remember her name. It tells you a lot of stuff. Look up the fall like a ball. I want to say it's Susan Lockhart, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Absolutely, Scott. My grandfather always told me, if you want something, you need to work for it, and I always have. Exactly. In my home here, we grew up. If you did not work, you did not do your chores or provide any kind of means for the home, you didn't eat. You want to eat, you want something special, you work for it. I've always talked to my sons about history and told them how everything we've been taught is a lie as well. You're right. And okay, now this will upset some people, and I apologize. This is my feelings. All right. This is how I see things, and this is how I became a religious, turned from religion and became spiritual. Even in our religious text that we are taught today, hides so much of our true history, so much of the true meaning of how something is. I have studied religions all around this world, some more in depth than others. I'm constantly learning new religious stuff. I haven't done it in a few years. I've had my mind on other stuff. But so many things that we know now actually contradict how they originally were written. And things are purposely left out, things are purposely changed. A certain entity, it starts with a C, I won't say it too many times on the show, had a big hand in doing that. And that's why I have a conflict with religion. Me personally, religion is a way to subjugate somebody. Spirituality is a way to free yourself. You become more closer to your deity being spiritual than you can be religious. And people use religion as a tool to gain what they need. They want something, they use religion. Look how many wars were fought over religion. Look how many genocides were done over religion. Look how much history has been destroyed or lost over religion. That's why I am the way I am. It's kind of difficult to hold you up because you want to be held like a baby, and I'm trying to do a show. You are such a spoiled dog. Yeah. Sorry, he's very needy. Um, Although he had fun going through the woods with me today. When he seen me heading for the woods, man, he got excited. He loves going out in the woods with me. Man, he was all over the place earlier. I was happy to be in the woods. I love being in the woods. In fact, I haven't even got a chance to do no deer hunting this year. So I have no meat for my freezer. So I'm having to be dependent on the stores, which I don't like. Between my sicknesses I've had and my injuries, I have not been able to go out in the woods and hunt. So usually I've got 4 to 6 deer in my freezer, and 4 or 6 deer will get me through a year where I don't have to depend on the store so much for meat. And I couldn't do it this year. Between like when I first started doing the lives, I was dealing with that mucus in the lungs, and then ended up getting a bad sinus infection. That was all during deer season, and my knees and everything else. We all have lenses that we see through the world through. The only thing that changed situations for the better is love and respect. Yeah, so freaking literally, Scott. Yes, actually, Scott, we do. I've actually shot a few of them. I've actually, so a couple of years ago, when I was in the hospital, me and my mom was in the hospital. I made it out. She didn't. I had a dog given to me by Wolf for Vet, or Wolf for Vets, I think is what it was called. She was a poodle. I never thought I would have a poodle, but man, I love that poodle. Her name was Freya. She was my baby. She disappeared. And when I got off the oxygen machine and I was finally able to go out in the woods for the first time and I pulled my SIM cards, I was heartbroken because one of the areas she liked to run, I found a wild hog on my game cam. So I'm wondering if that wild hog didn't get her. But I missed that dog. She was such an awesome dog. But yeah, and they're good around here, Scott, because they eat a lot of the acorns, corn, soy. That's a lot of your main stuff you have. I mean, berries, mushrooms, and stuff like that. So the wild hogs that are around here are fairly good to eat. Now, most of the wild hogs around here are some that escape from farms. That's a majority of them, but we have your traditional ones too. The one I had on my game cam looked like a traditional. Uh, I can't remember if you could hunt them year round. They were doing that for a while because they're an invasive species. But if I remember correctly, that may have changed. I've got to look that up. I can't remember off the top of my head. Uh, I'm wanting to say they changed something else and you got to report it now or something. I can't remember. Something has changed on that. But there was for a while there. Missouri Conservation was telling us to shoot them. Shoot them, let them lie, or shoot them and eat them. I'm like, man, I ain't going to. I'm a firm believer I don't shoot anything unless I tend to eat it, unless it's self defense. But you're absolutely right. And that's why I like hunting. That's why I like where I'm at. Because, I mean, I've got squirrel, coon, groundhog, deer, turkey, snake, rabbit, hog, deer. I've got so many and I've got the Niagara River actually just over to the east of me here. That if it's at the right height, you can catch fish. Sometimes you can't. I usually go to Table Rock Lake, Tunis, not Tunis. I'm sorry, brain farted. Um, Anyways, I go to different places to do some fishing. I'm actually redoing my garden because I can't, with my knees and back, it's hard for me to bend down and garden anymore. So I'm collecting plastic barrels and I'm going to drill holes out and I'm going to make raised beds. So I'm going to drill the holes out, fill it about halfway full of gravel and the rest with topsoil. And I'm going to put my plants in those so that way it's less work for me. I'm trying to gather glass up now. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at on that, Scott, because it's just easier for me. You know, I it's just me and my youngest daughter here now, so getting out and trying to pull weeds and trying to do all this stuff, my back and knees just don't. You know, 13 years of jumping out of helicopters, plus most of my life I was diesel mechanic and then farming and fighting. My body's broke down. It's broke down, and that's where I'm at, Scott. Yeah. So that's why I'm trying to turn this property into a more self sufficient. Uh, I hunt, buddy. You need you're being a pain in the butt. Uh, I do a lot of hunting and gathering off this land, which like I've talked about on William's show. I don't take everything I find. I leave some for the rest of the life that's out here as well. I'm a firm believer in you don't take more than what you need or less than what you need. You take just what you need and you share it with the other life that is on this property. You live together in a circle. And in that circle, what one does affects the other. So I'm a firm believer in you leave some for the others too. You know what I mean? My guests that come and visit, they eat the same stuff that I eat too. When I make a kill and what I don't eat, I leave for my guest and everything else out there. I have a special little spot that I take the remains and I drop them off. And everything in the woods that eats what I do not eat knows that's where you go. So when they hear my gunshot, they know I've made a kill. They know where to go to find what I'm not going to eat. I share what I don't eat with those that will. If that makes sense to you guys, I'm a firm believer in that. I think that's why I have such a good relationship with my guest. I really do. Um, yeah. So that's why I'm trying to change certain things around here to help me better be able to do it on my own. Because in one more year, I'm going to be an empty nester. It'll just be me and the animals here. There won't be nobody. Unless something happens and I get blessed and I find a new wife or girlfriend, it's just going to be me maintaining this property. So I've got to be able to do it by myself. And I got 40 acres. So I maintain my woods to keep a, um, a very healthy growth in my woods, and also to keep the wildlife here. So I'm very big onto that. Very big onto that. So oh wow, we're almost at the 2 hour mark. That's freaking cool. Um, and we got off the topic here, but that's okay. That's not uncommon for the show. Um, but yeah, no, and that's why like I try to teach my kids too is learn a lot from your ancient history because your ancient history can help you now more than it used to. Um, if you start trying to live the way that they tell you to live now, you're not going to be successful. You're going to be set up for failure. I believe a lot of the old ways is more beneficial than the new modern ways of doing things. I kind of, when I look at like the Amish, I kind of see why they still do things the way they used to because look how plentiful they are. So there's got to be some kind of truth in why they do what they do. I but you got to turn your terrain and your environment to your advantage. You got to learn how to work it. That's the key thing. But you are being a butt. Get over here. Oh no, you're not a baby. Get over here. You can either sit over here or you can go on the floor. Don't give me that look. Pain in the butt. But so we're going to go ahead and start winding this down. So kind of some closed captions on Great Zimbabwe. If you guys get a chance, like I said, kind of look this up and see some of that stuff for yourself too, and you'll see what I mean. I'm intrigued at what more we're going to learn about this, and I'll be doing some more shows on these other biovortices just because I'm finding this stuff very fascinating, and it okay. So when Ozzy turned me on to mud fossils with Roger and mud fossils, I've had the same reaction to that as I do with this. This is theories that I've had for so long. And the fact that the theories that I'm researching um, collaborate what you know, my theories were on this stuff, it's awesome. So, I mean, I'm going to be doing some more stuff. I'm having fun. If there's any shows you guys want me to do on, let me know in the comments. If you guys watch this later on and leave a comment, I'll do my best to do some research on it. So I'm going to do my little closing. There comes a time when the warrior falls. They leave this realm and will be missed by all. Raise a glass and keep them in your heart. They have kept this realm safe and performed their part. Look to your veterans, your active duty, your EMTs, and your blue line. What they have done was walk that fine line. When the demon comes calling on your soul, they will be there to save us all. Hold them in your prayers, for they are deserving. They all have served or are serving. Um, I wrote that. I still have not changed it because I just kind of like how that is. So, you guys, everybody, thank you for coming on. My new subscribers, thank you so much. Thank you for the interaction in the comments. Because you guys interact with me on here is what makes this show so fun and so great. And I do this for you guys, so I appreciate every single one of you. Ozzy, please keep me updated on your deal. I'm going to be worried about you. You're going to be in my prayers. Guys, not only keep Ozzy in your prayers, Um, keep DA Roberts in your prayers. If you guys get a chance, go to YouTube and look up DX Machina, listen to his show. A very, very informational man. Very, very good follow. Keep William Nighthawk in your prayers with what he's going through. Look for him on his channel on YouTube. I co-host with him from time to time. Uh, Another man that has a lot of information that is very vital. Another one, Jesus Payon, on his Breaking Discoveries, his Breaking Bigfoot. Go to YouTube, find that. Keep him in your prayers, what he's got going on. And remember that the docu-series that I've been waiting on coming out, you can find that on Linda Eastberg's YouTube channel. And Byways of Bigfoot, you'll see my little hillbilly butt in that. So look that up. Wait for that. That's coming out on the 15th of March. And peace, love, and blessings to you all. And thank you so much for coming in. And to all those having the birthdays, this week, happy birthday. I love you guys.